the Swiss Alps, the very rooftop of Europe. Amid this spectacular scenery, over 5,000 feet above sea level, lies the small town of Saint Moritz. The town and its many lakes have long been known as a health resort. Travellers have been visiting the healing waters here for centuries. Today, Saint Moritz has become known as the playground of the jet set and celebrities all over the world. Famous for its sun and champagne atmosphere, the town's popularity changes little with the seasons. Endless lush green meadows, dangling cable cars, dramatic alpine views with more than 1,000 peaks, and the glaciers that shroud them are the very essence of Switzerland. It's glaciers like this one, the Pitt's Corwatch, that have given their name to one of the world's most remarkable railways. The Glacier Express. This legendary railway snakes its way for 170 miles across southern Switzerland, linking the peaks of the eastern Alps with those of the west near Zermatt. The work of the three railway companies that make up the network represents a triumph of engineering. Saint Moritz is the eastern terminus of the Glacier Express, and it's here that we'll begin our journey. A ticket to Zermatt takes you through the alpine heartland of Switzerland. A journey lasting 7.5 hours over 291 bridges, through 91 tunnels, and crossing the 6,000 feet high Oberalp Pass.
Attention please, track number 1, Glacier Express to Disentis, Andermatt, Frick, Zermatt, delivering 8:55.
A last-minute chance to buy a magazine, although few passengers will take their eyes off the scenery, a final check of the brakes, and the Glacier Express is ready to leave. A few miles outside Saint Moritz is the first of the constructions that make this railway so unique. The Albular Tunnel, at nearly 6,000 feet, is the highest tunnel cut through the Swiss mountains, and one of the highest in Europe. Beneath this rolling countryside, the train makes its way through the tunnel for nearly 3.5 miles. Completed in 1903, the Albular Tunnel emerges near the small town of Preda. Although the train comprises many carriages, only the red ones form the true Glacier Express, and it's only those that will complete the journey all the way to Zermatt. Within a few moments, the passengers will encounter the next engineering masterpiece, the Tuar Tunnel Complex. The train appears to be off on a spree as it negotiates the spaghetti-like system of bends and tunnels. As the crow flies, the distance between Preda and Bergun, the next village, is only 3.5 miles. But the difference in altitude is over 1,200 feet. To achieve this, the train has to cover over 7 miles of track. On the way, it follows 3 long loops and passes through 3 loop tunnels. The keen observer sees the same piece of scenery several times. The train crosses the same river, the Albula, 4 times. What's more confusing is the fact that the village of Bergun first appears to passengers on the left and then again on the right. Eventually, the track straightens and follows the river Albula along its valley and onto the village. Bergun, with its fine 12th century church, and the nearby village of Latach are typical of the many unspoilt villages in rural Switzerland. The way of life here has changed little. The traditional Engadine costume is still often worn. The wool that goes to make it is still spun the way it's always been, by hand and foot. Houses and window boxes are draped in colour, a pleasing contrast to the grey and white mountains all round. From Bergun, the railway continues to follow the course of the river Albula northwards. Almost immediately, the train enters the Glacier Tunnel, over 900 feet long. The passengers have hardly seen daylight before they enter a second tunnel, under the Bergunestein, another 1/4 mile of darkness. The train emerges in the Albula Gorge, high above the river, amid steep wooded mountain slopes. The small town of Filisur, on the side of the valley, is passed through almost unnoticed. Ahead lies another river crossing. This time, it's the river Landwasser, flowing southwest to join the Albula. In 1902, the Landwasser Viaduct was built to span the river. It still remains as one of the most impressive railway bridges in Switzerland. The Glacier Express emerges from a tunnel 200 feet high in the rock face onto the curved bridge. A second viaduct, almost as impressive as the first, spans the Schmittentobel. The track continues downhill to Alvanen, with its nearby sulfur springs that date back as far as the Roman Empire. Running alongside lakes and precipices, across valleys and rivers, into the mountains and out again, the travellers become more and more aware of the difficulties that had to be overcome in the construction of this railway line. A driver decreases speed to pass through the next station, Thusis. Thusis marks the end of the albular section of the Rhaetian railways that have taken us the 36 miles from Saint Moritz. Over this distance, the Glacier Express has descended 3,000 feet. This region of Switzerland is sometimes called Burgenland. It's a fertile, picturesque area with no less than 20 ruined fortresses and castles. From here, it's a more or less straight flat run to Reichenau. The iron bridge spans the Hinterrhein just outside Reichenau-Tamins station, the point where the two arms of the Rhine meet. It's here that the Glacier Express will be uncoupled. The front end of the train will continue its journey to Chur. Chur, with a population of 37,000, is the capital city of the Grisons and stretches across the Rhine Valley. There's been a settlement here since 3000 BC. Today, Chur is a modern city that's retained much of its medieval character, with cobbled streets, narrow lanes, and hidden courtyards. Reichenau, on the other hand, is only a fraction of the size, but boasts a beautiful 14th century castle that was once the refuge of Louis Philippe, the exiled King of France. Meanwhile, at Reichenau station, the Glacier Express has been hooked up to a locomotive that will take it on the next leg of the journey. The majority of the all-electric railway system in Switzerland is based on a single track, especially in the mountainous areas. Two-way traffic is facilitated by various passing places en route. The network is divided into safety zones or blocks, and via a system of flashing lights, the operator knows exactly where the trains are at any time. The passengers can once again sit back, relax, and enjoy this remarkable journey. Through the next tunnel lies the Rhine Gorge. Where the River Rhine has cut its way through the valley, huge white cliffs as high as 900 feet have been formed. Each spring, swollen by melting snow, the river will carve the valley a fraction deeper. It's an impressive sight, and it's made the railway engineer's job a little easier. The Glacier Express continues on its way up the valley past cascading. Next stop, Alps. The town dates back to medieval times. Parts of the town wall were destroyed by fire in 1717. They were rebuilt with the help of the cantons of Bern and Zurich and can still be seen today. As the cows are brought down to their winter grazing, the closing barriers indicate that the train is about to leave. The Glacier Express heads westwards, climbing gradually up the Rhine. Let's take this opportunity to talk to some of the passengers about this remarkable railway.
I'm the excursion director for the Pacific Coast Chapter Railway and Locomotive Historical Society out of San Francisco. And we try to find railroads all around the world that are fascinating. So I planned this trip about 8 months ago and included every rail in Switzerland that would cover every tunnel, major tunnel. That's why we're on this train today, because we want to go through the new Corpora Tunnel that was established last year and opened in 1982.
We're members of the Railroad and Locomotive Historical Society based on the Pacific Coast, and we've come to Switzerland to ride on all of your trains.
It's a first-class type of train. The scenery is above anything you can imagine. You're going to see right at this moment, as I'm talking to you, I'm looking out and see this gorgeous valley here with the high mountains and the streams running through. And we have the beautiful viaducts and the this hairpin turns and everything of the railroad. This makes rail fans just, it's just like your whole blood boils. It's just something that's for rail fans. I'm not a railroad man myself. I'm a steamship man, but railroad just zong me, you know, and the people. I've got 39 people on this train right now, and every one of them is having a great, great time.
Just love it. They're so clean. We love the whole countryside. Everything is so clean.
We still got another 2 weeks to go riding trains. We're really going to have a fall in Switzerland.
It's outstanding, yes.
It was at Rhône in 1424 that the oath of the Grand Bunde was taken under a maple tree near St. Anna's Chapel, setting the seal on the creation of the canton of Grisons. The chapel still stands, but the tree has long since gone. From Rhône, the train snakes its way upwards along the valley through fields and villages under the shadow of the Vorderrheintal towards Disentis. The covered wooden bridge behind the road and railways bridges dates back to 1857. The three of them span the wild Ruseinbach. The narrow Rusine Valley widens as we approach Disentis, the next stop for the Glacier Express. The most distinctive building in the town is the Benedictine Abbey, with its dazzling white facade. The abbey was founded in the 8th century. Today, it houses a high school and a fine museum. Disentis marks the end of the Rhine Railway that's covered the 90 miles from Saint Moritz. Now it's the turn of the four-car Oberalp Railway to take over. The carriages are hitched onto a bigger, more powerful engine. The reason for this will soon become obvious. Over the next 60 miles of track operated by the Fokker Oberalp, the Glacier Express will rise to a height of over 6,000 feet, 4 times the height of the Empire State Building, and encounter gradients of almost 1 in 5. The first uphill section is just outside Disentis station, and while the train grinds its way uphill, the ticket collector makes his rounds. As the Zegnarsbach Valley is left behind, the train passes over a 200-foot-long curved viaduct straddling the river Akletterbach. As the scenery grows wilder, lunch is served. Eating off a plate while going uphill isn't too much of a problem. Coping with a glass of wine, on the other hand, could be. So travellers on the Glacier Express are served with a unique leaning glass to solve the problem of the steep gradients. The village of Sedrum is part of the Tujage community, an area that has developed in recent years into a popular centre for winter and summer holidays. As the train makes its way between the various villages that litter the valley floor, it begins to climb once more. On the really steep gradients, a rack and pinion system is used. The toothed rail in the centre of the track, a system of cogs and gears in the engine, provide the heavy train with a safe grip when going up and down gradients. Of the 60 miles in the Furka Oberalp section, 13 miles are rack and pinion. From here, the scenery changes dramatically. The lush green pastures are left far below. The Glacier Express grinds its way up to the Oberalp Pass. In summer, herds of cattle are brought here to graze along the railway banks. In winter, skiers enjoy themselves on the exciting downhill runs. The train passes through a gallery here on the lake's northern shore. It's a protection against avalanches and rockfalls. As the 2.5-mile flat section of the Oberalp Pass reaches an end, it's back onto the rack and pinion for the descent. We've climbed to a height of over 6,000 feet and must now drop down nearly 2,000 feet to the town of Zermatt, nestling in the valley below. The railway line runs through 3 loop tunnels, going over, under, and parallel to the pass road. There are 3 long double loops and dizzy changes from darkness to light. Zermatt hardly seems to get closer with each part of the breathtaking descent. finally, after rounding the last steep bend, the station looms into view. The large buildings are part of the railway maintenance works. The village is hemmed in on three sides by granite rocks and lies in a hollow from which the river Reuss makes its way through the Scholener Gorge. Andermatt is the main village in the Urseren Valley and has developed into a major winter sports centre without losing any of its charm. From here, it's downhill to Hospental and on down the Urseren Valley to Rhône. The Glacier Express travels along the valley floor, running more or less parallel with both the river and road. The high alpine meadows provide a rather bleak setting. For most of the year, this area is covered by a thick layer of snow hiding the rock-strewn slopes. The railway line and main road run parallel for over a mile before reaching Rhône. The station here provides a convenient crossing place. Just outside Rhône is one of the major achievements in railway engineering this century. A Fokker-based tunnel 9 miles carved through solid rock. After 9 years and 225 million Swiss francs, the tunnel was opened in 1982. Above it, the Rhône glacier, source of the river Rhône, has been shrinking constantly over the centuries. Thousands of streams of melted water gush out from under the ice masses. The journey through the tunnel takes a full 20 minutes before emerging at Oberwald. Before the opening of the Fokker tunnel, the journey by train from Rhône to Oberwald was only possible for 5 months of the year, during the summer. Parts of the line lay in the paths of avalanches, and each winter 290 electric cable masts had to be taken down and stored. Even a steel bridge had to be dismantled to prevent it from being swept away. From here, the Glacier Express follows the course of the River Rhône. There are the towns and villages of the Gons region. It's a paradise in winter for cross-country skiing. From here, it's mostly downhill all the way to Brig. Looking at the scenery, it's hard to imagine that for 50 years the Glacier Express was only operational during the summer months. The opening of the Furka Base Tunnel marked the start of a new era of winter travel aboard the train. Powerful snowplows keep the rest of the line clear, and many of the tunnels are fitted with automatic doors to keep the snow out. As the train leaves the Fiesche Valley, the final bend reveals the town of Fiesche, the gateway to the Eckishorn and its mighty glacier perched amid the Alps. Cable cars put the Eckishorn within easy reach of the town. Fiesche has developed rapidly in recent years, with modern houses and hotels built on the slopes. The church here is built in New Gothic style. The Glacier Express enters a third of a mile long spiral tunnel to emerge onto the Rhône viaduct, an impressive bridge some 150 feet high. From here, it's just a short journey downhill alongside the river, over the iron bridge at Natas into Brig Station. Brig is a major rail junction, and it's here that custody of the Glacier Express is handed over from the Furka Oberalp to the Brig-Vist-Zermatt railway, and the locomotive is changed once more. Brig, at the foot of the famous Saint-Plon Pass, was originally a marketing town. The pass was the main route for trade with Italy, a fact which made the 17th century Stockalper family a fortune. With it, they built their magnificent palace, the largest private residence in Switzerland. The Glacier Express is now ready to leave, and the guard signals to the driver to commence the final leg of our journey. 25 miles from here, and it's uphill all the way. 2.5 miles beyond this, the railway, sandwiched between river and road, passes under 2 arched masonry bridges in the Visp Valley. Further on lies Stalden, where the south-facing slopes are covered with vineyards. From here, it's back onto the rack.
We've been on trains all over the world, and this is about the most spectacular. The scenery, it's just beautiful.
Out of all the trains that I've taken, and there aren't all that many, this has to be the most spectacular of all of them.
Oh, this is the greatest. It really is. It's fantastic. Can't wait to come here again. Beautiful.
Beyond Stalden, the landscape is scarred by deep ravines and gorges. Here, the railway crosses the Mühlebach, 150 feet below, and enters a tunnel, one of 6 between Stalden and Kalpatran. On the steep slopes, deep channels have been cut by the gushing mountain streams. Emerging into the Nikolai Valley, the Glacier Express passes through St. Niklaus. The tower, with its onion-shaped cupola, is all that remains of the original church, destroyed by an avalanche in 1747. Having left St. Niklaus, the track heads up the Nikolai Valley, alongside the Matter Visp. The small village of Randa heralds the final few miles of our journey through the Swiss Alps. It's hard to imagine that Randa was completely destroyed when a glacier plunged into the valley over 150 years ago. But for the cars, the journey will be shorter. The train will soon be passing through Tash. If you're traveling to Zermatt by road, then Tash is the nearest place you'll get. It's said to be the largest car park in Europe and covers many acres. Zermatt is a traffic-free town. The only way in is by rail, on foot, or on horseback. As the train begins its ascent, another glacier looms into view. Ahead lies the final tunnel, number 91. And from it, the train emerges into Zermatt station, the end of our 170-mile journey aboard the Glacier Express. At the station, horse-drawn carriages and electric buses await to ferry you and your luggage to your destination. Zermatt, although an alpine metropolis, has retained a sense of tranquility and character all of its own. In the golden age of alpinism, it drew resolute mountaineers like a magnet. Today, it attracts large numbers of visitors who come to ski, sunbathe, and generally relax amid the pure air and ultraviolet rays. The town itself is a mass of dazzling colour. Every house has ranks of window boxes spilling over with geraniums. They're even amid the little sun-browned houses of the back streets in the old town. But our journey across Switzerland would hardly be complete without taking the cableway up to Stockholm to meet the Matterhorn. The Glacier Express has taken us across almost the whole length of southern Switzerland, from the Rhine to the Rhône, over bridges, through tunnels, and amid all the scenic splendour of the Swiss Alps. It's a fitting tribute to the miners, engineers and draftsmen who have made possible this famous journey for tourists and Swiss alike. it's easy to see why the Glacier Express is regarded as one of the world's most remarkable railways.